Hello, everyone. Welcome to Queer Lawyers Speak, hosted by Lagback, Chicago's LGBTQ plus bar association. My name is Adam Zebelian. I'm a partner at Schiller, DeCanto, and Fleck, where I practice family law. And I am the current president of Lagback, Chicago's LGBTQ plus bar association. Today, I'm joined with two very special guests, both of whom are good friends of mine, and I look up to both of them tremendously. Our first guest, to my direct left here, is Raymond Rushing, who is the Cook County Bar Association president. And then next to him is Ray Koenig, who is the Chicago Bar Association president. Both of these individuals made history this past year by becoming the first openly LGBTQ plus bar presidents for their respective bars. So we have them both here today to talk about their experiences, their bar associations, and the community in general. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ray, why don't you let the audience know what you do, where you work, and what your title is with your firm.
Absolutely. First, thanks for having us here, Adam, and thank you, Lagback. And it's an honor to be here with Raymond again. My name, again, is Ray Koenig. I am a partner at Clark Hill. My area of practice focuses on controversies in the probate, trust, and guardianship space. So when you think of your kids fighting over your money when you die, I'm the attorney that handles that stuff. Other things that I do at my firm, which is relevant as being an openly gay man, is that I'm a member of our firm's elected executive committee, which is like a board of directors for a firm. And it's a large firm. We have over 700 attorneys. And I'm also the co-chair of our firm's global litigation practice. So I do a lot there, and it's a big job, and it's a fun job.
Very good, very good. Raymond,
Awesome.
Where do you work?
Thanks, Adam. I echo what Ray said earlier. Thank you for having us. Thank you, Lagback. But hey, everyone, I'm Raymond Rushing. I'm the president of the Cook County Bar Association, and I'm corporate counsel at Cummins, Inc. It's a Fortune 150 company, so a global company with 74,000 employees, and I'm one of the corporate global litigators on the team there. So it's one of six, and I do all types of litigation, from run-of-the-mill product liability to commercial litigation issues, internal investigations. And with the companies in trouble, we call ourselves guardians. I'm the one they call.
You make problems go away.
Absolutely.
Ray, can you tell the audience, maybe there's some lawyers out there, law students, but most of the audience members are likely not in the legal profession. Can you tell them about the Chicago Bar Association, the history of the organization, and where we're at today with the Chicago Bar?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Chicago Bar Association is an association, a professional group of attorneys who primarily practice in Illinois, but our members are throughout the United States and the world. We are the largest and one of the oldest municipal bar associations, meaning based in a city. We have anywhere between 17 and 20,000 members in a given year, and we are currently celebrating our 150th year as an association, just as old as the Chicago Public Library, if you can believe it. And it's been a pretty exciting year for us. And the Bar Association does, like ours in Cook County, do a lot of similar work serving our members. We provide everything from continuing legal education to providing services to the public when they're looking for attorneys. We have a great lawyer referral program, to serving as leadership in the legal community, to defending the integrity of the justice system, to defending judicial integrity, to promoting civil justice and social justice. We do a lot. It's a really big organization. We have a massive mandate, and given our 150 years of service, I think we're doing it pretty well for the most part.
When you talked about the referral service just a moment ago, that's a place people can go to find a lawyer, depending on their needs.
Absolutely. So you can go to the website for the Chicago Bar Association, and there's a phone number on there, and it's called the CBA Lawyer Referral Service. And you can, I don't know if you can click through on something there, but there's definitely a phone number there. And then you're connected with a person who will refer you to an attorney that we've vetted and that we've worked with in the past or referred to matters to in the past.
Raymond, why don't you tell the audience about the Cook County Bar Association?
Awesome. Yes, so the Cook County Bar Association is the oldest association of African American lawyers and judges in the country. We were formalized in 1914, but we've been around for quite longer than that. The first African American lawyer in the state of Illinois was in 1869, and then around 1896 we were organizing and really gathering around issues that affected the Black community. So we were more community-based. And then in 1914, we formalized. And so we serve two purposes. The first is we serve as purveyors of justice and guardians of the community. That's our first purpose. And then also we serve a purpose for our members, the lawyers in the association, to make sure that they have a great career as lawyers. And so we do things similar to the CBA. We do CLEs for our members. But I think our most important role of being an association is making sure that we are guarding the civil rights and civil liberties, not just for African Americans, but for all Americans. And so that's something that we stand on, and the things that we do for the community, all our educational programs. We're having one tonight. We're having one tonight on the West Side, an Economic Empowerment Summit, to teach people, good practices managing their money, how to make money, how to manage it. And that's a community-based program that we're doing on the West Side of Chicago. So that's our very first goal, is to make sure that we protect the community and that we serve the community. And the second goal is what we do is we protect and we enhance the lives of our members.
And when you were sworn in, Ray, I don't know if you attended the swearing in.
I was there, yeah.
Yes, yeah. You had Laura Coates at your swearing in,
Yes.
who's a CNN anchor who I adore. And I got a picture with her, and I was very impressed with that. Every time I see her on CNN, I feel like I see my friend
Absolutely.
on TV, but she wouldn't remember me, likely. So you said that the Cook County Bar Association is the oldest African American bar association in the country. Now, throughout the country, there's African American bar associations in every major city.
Yes.
Throughout the country.
Throughout the country, yes. And so besides us being formalized in 1914, being the first, we were also instrumental in founding the National Bar Association in 1925. And they're having their 100-year anniversary coming up, and it's actually going to be held here. The National Summit's going to be held here next
And the
summer.
National Bar Association is the National African American
It's the
Bar.
National African American Bar Association. And so they've been responsible for making sure that nationally, as a collective voice, that we make sure that we are protecting the rights of people, but also all of the local bar associations, like the Cook County Bar Association, are members of the National Bar Association.
Now, how long have you been a member of the Cook County Bar Association?
Ever since I was a spring chicken. No, I've been a member. I was actually a student member first. I was a student member back in 2012 when I first started law school, volunteered, and so 12 years now. 2024, so 12 years.
All right. And Ray, how long have you been a member of the Chicago Bar Association? I'm not trying to age you, but you are the senior elder on the panel here today.
Raymond, you just aged me. Because I was thinking, I've been a member of the Chicago Bar Association since I was in law school, which was late last century. So I finished law school in 99, and I joined sometime between 96 and 99. I don't know exactly when. And I've been an active member ever since then.
Now, you and I actually served on the Chicago Bar Association board with you when you were the secretary.
Yes.
And so you've served in leadership for the CBA for a while now.
Yeah, so I was first on the board of managers 2012 to 2014, I think, and that's a 2-year term, which is what you served. And then...
when Raymond was still in law school.
Yes.
Pretty much, yeah. Thank you. And then I was elected secretary, and I served in that position for 2 years. And then I was elected second vice president, and that's a position where when you're elected, you automatically move up. So then I was that second vice president for a year, and then first vice president for a year, and then currently president. And then next year I'll be what's known as immediate past president. And so it's basically when you're elected secretary. Traditionally, you then serve a total of 6 years, 2 years as secretary and then 3 years in different officer positions. Plus, you're really not going to get elected secretary or treasurer unless you've served on the board before. So all in, I'll have served 8 years as some sort of fiduciary or officer at the CBA.
And in the 150...
And then I'm going to take over the Cook County Bar Association. I'm coming for you.
And then lag back.
And then lag back. And then lag back will be my swan song.
So in its 150-year history,
you're
the first openly LGBTQ plus president.
That's correct, yeah. Yeah, I am, and a couple things that when you mentioned Raymond's ceremony when he was sworn in, which was I think a week or two before me. It was right before me, because Raymond, first of all, raised the bar. So I rewrote my speech after I saw his.
Raymond's speech was very good. So was yours, Raymond.
After I was standing in the back of the room crying, you're like, oh, darn. But I do believe, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that our respective speeches upon our installation was the first time our trans brothers and sisters were mentioned at the annual meetings of a meeting. Our trans siblings, not brothers and sisters, but and then I was also at mine. It is definitely the first time that a male president acknowledged and thanked his husband. From the dais, and I think it was a pretty well received speech. I've got some photos of you guys laughing, so at least my jokes hit.
It was a great speech.
It was a great speech.
But yeah, I definitely was the first openly gay president. The CBA, though, has had, for the last 25 to 30 years, has been very intentional about recruiting diverse candidates to serve in leadership roles. So I'm kind of one of the last big firsts, which isn't a negative thing for the LGBTQ community. It's just we've had so many people in positions of authority that do come from different communities other than the straight white male world.
Right. And so is your path through the Cook County Bar similar in how you become president of the Cook County Bar Association?
Absolutely. So when I graduated, I became a regular member, of course, and then the next year I was chair of the job fair, which is one of the largest job fairs in the country for minority law students. And then they said, well, you'll serve on the board. I served on the board for 2 years. And then they said, we enter the lineup. Then you have to be third vice, second vice, president-elect, then president. And then you get a year afterwards to serve as president emeritus. So it's a long road up to becoming president. A lot of service and a lot of sleepless nights, but it's a labor of love. And you do it because if you're called to serve, you do it.
Exactly. And you are the first openly LGBTQ plus president of the Cook County Bar, and it's about 150 years.
Well, yeah, almost. I mean, we formalized in 1914, but we've been around for a while. Absolutely.
And coming after you, two presidents behind you, is that individual is also openly LGBTQ.
Absolutely. So 2 presidents behind me, Antonio Lee, he's also openly LGBTQ. So we're really excited about it, right? He's an amazing leader. I mean, he has a heart of service, one of the hardest working members that we have. And he's just, I don't know how he does it all. He's like Superman. He's amazing. So I'm really excited about his bar year. And yeah, it's time. It was time for, and I'm sure Ray will say the same, I'm sure there were other LGBTQ plus presidents of the Bar Association. They just weren't in an environment that they could have come out, right? So the fact that we're here and that we've progressed so much and that I was looked on and to lead this organization because of the service, because of my love, and they saw that. And so when they asked me, I said, absolutely. So it's just a blessing that they accepted me with open arms, and they realized that we've come to a point where it doesn't matter your sexual orientation. If you're going to serve the people and you're going to do it well and you're going to do it with passion and with your heart, that you deserve, to be in places of power and positions of power. So
you two are both transplants to Chicago, as am I.
Yes.
Which is common among members of our community because we kind of come in from all around the country to this LGBTQ plus haven of Chicago, right? But Ray, why don't we start with you? How did you find yourself coming to Chicago?
So I grew up in kind of an exurb of the Detroit, Michigan area, a place called White Lake, very working class area. And I went to Michigan State for undergrad.
Go green.
Go white. Somebody else may have gone to Michigan State as well. But I went to school to be a teacher, actually. And then but I'd always in the back of my mind thought maybe I'll be a lawyer. And naively, I decided, well, I should give this law thing a try, and if it doesn't work out, I can go back to being a teacher, which is crazy. But so I started applying to law schools all over the place, and DePaul really appealed to me, in part because it was in a big city, and I had grown up in the suburbs, then went to school in East Lansing, Michigan, which is not a big city. And so living in Chicago really appealed to me, and I wasn't out at all. I mean, I knew I was gay, but I was completely closeted when I moved here and went to law school. And then I fell in love with the city and started working here and stayed. And it's just, I've been here since '96. So I've been here longer than I was in Michigan by far. And I consider it my home. Like, I never can say I'm from Chicago, but I can always say I live in Chicago. I've been told that a lot by people that grew up in Chicago.
Yeah, but technically you've lived in Chicago longer than anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah. And I am a Chicagoan, for sure.
Yeah. Raymond, same question.
Yeah, so I'm from Oklahoma, very small town, hour south of Tulsa, called McAlester, Oklahoma, 18,000 folks. So I actually liked growing up in a very small town. I liked the values that I received. But then I matriculated to the University of Oklahoma, where I was an African-American studies major. And I learned so much. It's kind of like an anthropology degree. And we learned about the Great Migration when African-Americans came from the South. They migrated north. They chose a few cities like Detroit, Philadelphia. But overwhelmingly, they chose Chicago. And it was, when you redo all the research and you say, if you really want to change the world, you go to Chicago. There were so many people like Thomas Dorsey, Mahalia Jackson, Oprah's from the South. You can almost count Obama from the South. He's just kind of from, his grandparents are from Kansas, right?
Right.
But because of that, I knew at 19 I needed to be in Chicago. If I wanted to go and change the world, I needed to be here. It was a long time coming to get here, but I finally was able to get here in 2012, and I'm not leaving.
I had a similar path here. I fell in love with Chicago when I was in college at Michigan State. And as soon as I got here, I'm like, this is my home.
Yes.
I don't want to live anywhere else.
Absolutely.
And I've never thought anything different. And I've been here 14 years. So you actually have another graduate degree. So you got...
Yes.
So you went to grad school and then law school.
Absolutely.
What's your graduate degree in?
Human relations.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, that probably serves you well in law, though.
It does. I mean, you learn the study of people, but mine had a concentration on corporate organizational communication. So, how do large corporations like an AT&T, which I used to work for, and I love the company, how do they take a message from the top and make it trickle down to move effectively as an organization, right? And move it all in one. So that's what my basis of my degree was. And so, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wish I had maybe done something in between college and law school that would have helped as a lawyer. Because I think there's a lot of degrees, advanced degrees, that really help lawyers be better lawyers, like a master's of social work or an MBA or something like that.
Well, I can also, my education at Michigan State for teacher education was actually really helpful for being a lawyer. Because I'm a litigator, and so I tried cases. And when I first started out as a lawyer, law school is great. But when I was back in law school again last century, they didn't teach you the trial skills that they teach a little more now than they used to. A lot of the trial skills you learned on the job. And so I would actually set up my first trial kind of like a unit plan, like I was teaching a class. It was a bench trial, it wasn't a jury, but that's kind of how I organized my thought and organized my case. And to an extent, I still do that today, 25 years later. And it was because of what I learned as a teacher, how to be an effective communicator and educator of your audience, which is really a judge or a jury. So that has been
or
really
a client.
Or a client. I love client, yes. Or a client, yeah. No, but it's true, and it's really helpful. So I think there's a lot of degrees that can help you. And when people want to be a lawyer, they're like, oh, but I went to school to be a teacher. I'm like, so? Or I went to school to be a computer science guy. So?
Yeah, I was pre-med.
Yeah, which would help you if you were a personal injury.
Right. Not a divorce lawyer. I don't know what that does.
Well, that's the psychology.
Hey, it has an effect on health.
Yeah, it does. My health.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that, Ray, because having grown up, my father being a teacher and a middle school principal and having lots of cousins that are teachers and uncles and aunts, I always said that there is a similar type of personality goes to become a teacher or becomes a lawyer. They're very similar because it's the same thing. You're teaching.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that you say that. So Raymond, did you come out of the closet when you were in Oklahoma, or did you wait for Chicago?
It's really weird. I don't know if I officially ever came out.
Oh, is this it?
Right? Congratulations!
Yeah, right. I don't know. I don't think I officially ever came out. I think when I stepped foot in Chicago, I was like, I'm just going to be me, right? So it was like, I'm free. I have escaped the South, and I've escaped closed-mindedness. I'm just going to be who I am, and I pay my own bills, and I have grown men bills. I pay my own bills. I've paid for my own schooling over the years, and I had the benefit that my mother's actually a lesbian, so I knew she was going to be super understanding. And she told me when I was 19, a true story. She said, Raymond, you don't have to decide now. She said, live your life and then decide. And if you are gay and that's who you are, do you. But go through school, go to college, have experiences, and just be who you are, and you will find yourself. And I was gay, and
she knew it.
She knew,
but that's the right thing to say.
But it was a blessing, right? It was a blessing that I could just figure it out on my own terms in my own time. And then when I got to Chicago, I was like, well, I'm gay.
Yeah.
And when I went to law school, I didn't have to hide it from anyone, and everyone accepted me, and it just made it so much easier.
And you went to UIC here in Chicago.
Absolutely.
So you had a big city embrace you as soon as you got to law
Absolutely.
school.
And a big law school, because we had 380-something students in my
wow.
class.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in the closet in undergrad, but then when I went to law school in Pennsylvania at Penn State, I came out because I was away from everything I knew. But when I was an undergrad and came to Chicago for the first time, I'm like, oh, A, I already knew I was gay, but B, I'm like, I need to be gay here. So what about you, Ray?
So yeah, when I always known I've been attracted to men. So and I always knew what that meant. But I also grew up a little older again than you. I grew up in I was born in the 70s, early 70s, and I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and AIDS and Reagan, and we were the gay men in particular were, the scourge of the earth, the reason for a plague, everything else, and we deserved it. So my family didn't think that, and I have several out lesbian aunts who I'm grateful to this day for they live their lives out, brave and proud from the 70s on. So when I moved to Chicago, I was still in the closet. And then I was in law school, I was still in the closet, and I actually was engaged to a woman.
While you were in law school here?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then right before I took the bar exam, I was under so much pressure with the bar exam, and then so much pressure because I knew I was lying if I was going to be getting married to this woman, that I actually broke off the engagement with her about a week before the bar exam.
Oh, wow.
Which was incredibly freeing for me, not for her, and I regret to this day that I was not honest with her. And then over the next 6 months or so, I started coming out more, just being more and more myself. But I wasn't out to anybody in my family or anybody at work yet. And then when I finally came out, the first person I came out to was my mother. She was living in Michigan still, and she came to visit me for a weekend. She used to always come and visit me for the weekend, and she'd stay at my apartment with me. And I remember, like, I'm going to come out to my mom. I'm going to come out to my mom. I'm going to come out to my mom. And I remember... and by then I'd had a boyfriend that I'd lived with, and we'd vacation with my mom. And she didn't know, but she kind of knew.
Right.
So it was like...
The mom's always
Was he your roommate?
Yeah, he was my roommate. Yeah. Living with that. My mom coming to visit me, and I had the night planned. We went out to dinner. I made sure she had a few too many drinks. I had a few too many drinks, a little liquid courage, came back to my apartment. And then she's sitting on the couch, and I put my head down on her lap. And I was like, Mom, I've got something to tell you. She's like stroking my hair. She's like, yeah, what? And I'm like, I'm gay. And she's like, I know.
That's great.
And then it was, and you know my mother.
Oh, yes, I love your mother.
Yeah.
She's a lovely woman.
Yeah, and it was really cute. So then I remember, like, the next day or the day after, I took her to the airport to drop her off, and we were at the old Midway. And I remember dropping her off, and she started crying. I was like, Mom, I thought you were okay. You're good. And she goes, oh, I'm not crying about you being gay. I'm just crying because, you're not going to have grandkids. You're not going to have kids, so I'm not going to have grandkids from you. I'm like, oh, Mom, we can have kids now. She's like, oh, when? And then immediately went to, so when are you giving me grandkids? Yeah.
And you have given her grandkids.
I have twin daughters who will be 14 at the end of the month.
Awesome.
Yeah, so my husband and I, have 2 kids.
And your kids are also very good swimmers.
They are.
And that's an understatement.
They're
like right below, or not right below, they're about to hit Olympic.
Yeah, I'm looking for them to be in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Grace and Addie, you do you. Do not listen to these guys. They are quite talented swimmers who swim at a lot of national meets, and the most important thing is they love it, and they love their swim friends and their teammates, and it keeps them disciplined. And also they have straight A's at school, and they just got accepted to Northside Prep, so we're super excited about that.
Oh, fantastic.
So they are, so it's all working out for them.
Good. Well, they have great dads.
Thank you.
And a great grandmother.
Yes, they do.
Not a great grandmother, but an awesome grandmother. I don't want to make your mom mad. So, Raymond, what's next after the Cook County Bar?
Sleep.
Fair.
Yeah, I really want to focus on my career. My professional goal, why I'm practicing law, is to be a chief legal officer of a Fortune 100 company, and it takes a lot of work and dedication. So I'm really going to focus on that the next few years. And long term, life wise, I want to be in politics. I want to serve on the federal level. So that will come sometime in the future. But right now, I'm going to focus professionally on my career goals and love life, because I'm not married yet and I'm single. So if anyone's looking to date, of size large black man, I'm available.
A very successful
Well,
black
thank
man.
you. Focus on myself. Those two, professionally, personally, and then we'll see what the future holds.
Very good, very good. Same question to you, Ray. So what are you going to do now once you have all this time after? Well, both of you will be immediate past president.
Yes.
So you'll have obligations
Yeah.
for another year after this year.
Yeah.
And both of you conclude your terms, I think, this summer, right?
Yes,
I do in June, yeah.
But after you're through your immediate past president year, what next?
I've always had a lot going on, so obviously I'll continue my practice with my firm because I love what I do. I had a bunch of different charitable roles over the years. I've chaired nonprofit organizations, and I don't know if I want to go back to do that again in my spare time. I continue to serve on the City of Chicago's Commission on Human Relations. I serve on the State of Illinois' SERS board, the State Employee Retirement Systems Pension Board, which are both busy things and interesting things. But I think next, what I'm going to look at, after resting for a bit, I agree, taking some time off from Bar Association life, looking for something related, civically related. I just don't know what yet. And so what's been great about being the CBA president is that I get to meet and hang out with a lot of people that do know about those roles and those positions. So I've been, putting feelers out there talking about like what would be appeal to me.
Very good. Well, this has been very fun. Thank you both for doing this.
thank you for having us.
And I look forward to seeing you both soon, probably tomorrow at an event.
Thank you, Adam.
And thank
Thanks
you
so much.
to all of you for watching another Queer Lawyers Speak, and we hope to see you next time. Thanks again. Bye.